Welcome. This past few days or so, there's been a lot of chatter over these images, also the video that accompany them. Now, if you were to ask me if I cared about it or anything like that, I would say, well, of course, I do care. It involves politics and it involves global politics. And whether I like it or not, when people of leadership roles sit down and speak, it may affect our lives. So for that, I cared. Other than that, not really. Until I saw this. Niall Gardner or Gardner, not sure how his last name is pronounced. So for that, my apologies. Writes the following: the contrast between statesman-like William and his drug-using brother Harry in exile in Montecito could not be greater. Prince William's evolution as global statesman and flag bearer for Britain continues as he joins world leaders at Paris ceremony. Oh, and here's another gem.
Was William taking a little bit of extra delight in meeting his brother's nemesis? Possibly. Was William taking a little bit of extra delight in meeting his brother's nemesis? Possibly.
The modern media's alchemical transformation of Prince William into a simulacrum of statesmanship represents nothing short of a collective hallucination. We are witnessing a breathless manufacturing of mythological significance, where substance bows before spectacle, and genuine scrutiny dissolves into hagiographic myth. This is Majesty, Sussex Report. I'm Antonio, and thank you for spending some of your valuable time here with us. Hello, beautiful people. Hope you're all doing well at whatever day or whatever time you are listening or watching this. Welcome once again. And this episode, I was going to say sitting on it, but I haven't been sitting on it. Um, I've had it completed now for about 2 days. But other things came up and I spoke about other things and this kept getting pushed back. Um, but the episode that I have prepared or had prepared, I was about to post it. I decided to sort of just go through it again quickly just to see if there was anything that maybe I should, I don't know, cut out or redo or something. And 15 minutes into it, I thought, nah, I'll just redo it. Redo the entire thing. So here we are, redoing it. Uh, and I'm feeling a little bit. What's the word I'm trying to find? somber. I think that's it, somber. And and as I finished one video, the other video that was suggested that came up was um, Palace Confidential, and I've made fun of it. I've imitated them. I've watched them, and today, as I was making, got up, I started to make some tea, and as I was watching them, something just, I don't want to say something just hit me, but it kind of made me very somber in the mood I'm in right now because we know this. Every time they spoke about Catherine, you know, the facial expressions would change and the voice would change and the and all of the verbs and so on that they would use, the words are all positive and when Harry or Meghan were brought up in their conversation, it was very dark and gloomy and negative, and it's quite interesting because as much as sometimes I think it's funny and fun, I also think about how harmful it is. I also think about the person who sent me that comment a few days ago, to whom I responded back. And I think of people like that who may think of people like us or like myself that I'm in the wrong. I am blind. I'm being manipulated. I am poor me. I seem like a nice person, but I'm uneducated and stupid, or I don't speak well, and all the other um, wonderful things that I'm told. So when you exist in an echo chamber that just reinforces an ideology, a thought, a notion, and that's all you get over and over and over and over again from people who you may deem trustworthy, then you start to believe that that is the truth. But there are certain parts of all of that that one should question because even information that I receive that is Sussex friendly, I still question it. I still ask, right? There's always a in my head. And I will start to try and look to see if there's any holes or something that doesn't seem right. It is very concerning a little bit. I mean, I'm not going to lose sleep over the concern, but oh, my question is a quite broad question, and I wish for people not to take offense to it, but rather to to sit with the question I'm asking. When is Britain going to grow up? When is it going to become an adult? And I don't mean, once again, let me clarify, the hardworking people of the UK, the people that don't have time with any of this nonsense, really, that have to manage a lot of issues day in and day out. So all of this is just, seems like just a bunch of people that have nothing else better to do. But I would argue that the things that we do or we try to do in this space does have a direct effect on common people. Because I'll speak for myself. By standing up for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, and the eternal harassment, abuse that they continue to receive, and mind you, not deserving of any of it, is our way to push back, because what they're trying to show us, tell us, indicate the message for us to receive is that look what they can do to these two so-called powerful people. These two recognize across the globe. We are still able to say these things about them, make people believe things about them. So the press has enormous amount of power. But I asked the question, when is Britain going to grow up? Because I don't think it's the first time I've thought about this, but for some reason it became more forceful, I guess. It brought me back to high school, and even I would say even to elementary school. I've always had, and please again, don't take this the wrong way. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back for any way of how I am or how I am wired. I'm just wired the way I am. This is the way God intended me to be wired. So I don't offer any excuses for it because I am a child of God. However, when one says certain things, people take offense to it, or they may think you've been one thing or another. But my parents often used to say, he's the quiet one, he's the good one. I can take a little bit of offense to that because what that did is that it labeled me a certain way. Therefore, I behaved a certain way. I was always quiet and I was always good. But the other thing that my also illness allowed me was enormous amount of time of observation to watch people, the way they interacted, the things they said, how they communicated with each other. And it always fascinated me, even in elementary school, the cliques and the popular kids and the deemed non-popular, and I never understood it because I would look at the people they would think or call the popular kids, and I never found anything special or outstanding about any of them. I had a friend of mine pointed out to me, he said, yeah, but you were always with the popular kids. And I never thought of it that way, or I never saw it that way until he pointed it out. And it took me aback for a minute, and I thought, no, I wasn't with the popular kids. They just happened to hang out around me. Then he thought, he goes, oh, Mr. Ego. And I didn't mean it in that way at all. It's just that I didn't go out seeking friendships with people who call themselves popular, or some arbitrary set of students decided that we are going to make them the popular kids, or because they're dressed a certain way or they intimidate people a certain way, or so and so has her brother or chauffeur drive up in a certain type of car. I don't know, right? Because none of this has ever interested me. I find it quite useless. And that is where I link the question, when is Britain going to grow up? Because what I see, what I hear, are a bunch of elementary or high school students, pupils, behaving in a way that is reminiscent of my time in elementary and high school. If, as any walking, thinking, analytical, mature adult, a person who has had experiences in life that has taught them to come to the table with a set of values that are greater than that of a elementary or high school person. But the way these commentators, reporters, TV shows, they behave like high school children. You have, for example, Camilla Tominey rejoicing in that there is conflict between two brothers. And almost like a na 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 na, he's gonna talk to his brother's nemesis. When I heard her, I thought to myself, is this a 12-year-old, an 11-year-old, a 10? I'm not sure. Because you see, I was never a child who engaged in that behavior. I quite didn't understand it. I still don't. I didn't see the need for it, the value of it. So she is rejoicing in the media created tension, animosity, distancing of these two brothers. How could one be so gleeful and content? What does it say about that person? What does it say about your values? So this narrative that exists continuously in the British media, and I know perhaps we all get tired of hearing about the British media. And I said that person who left me the comment that I responded to a few days ago, they're like, well, you can't be blaming everything on UK media. Well, I wouldn't blame everything on them if they stopped doing the things to blame them for. My question still stands. When will they grow up? Because if you, like on Palace Confidential, you talk about being at the banquet, the royal banquet for the Emir of Qatar, and you're walking around and you're looking at the placements, the names, and there's a Beckham. Oh, what a surprise. And you have a conversation with the courtier, and the courtier say, oh, well, you have to discover where Victoria is, because she's not sitting there at all. She's sitting somewhere very differently. And you notice that Victoria was seated in a more prominent VIP-ish Wonderful. Report on it. Talk all you want about it. Why do you have to bring the Sussexes on in it? They weren't invited to no banquet. They were not there. Whether they speak to the Beckhams or not, irrelevant. He's talking about a banquet, a state affair for the Emir of Qatar. But, like a broken record, well, you know what happened is that the Beckhams, they were friendly with both Kate and William and what are they called again? The Montecitos. You see, they were friendly about it, but the Beckhams soon realised that the Montecitos were not quite at par. They were quite so they chose well. They chose very, very well. Who the F cares? Who the effing cares? If you're going to talk about Beckham's being invited to the banquet and that he's pandering for a knighthood or whatever it is that he's pandering for, stick to the subject matter. What do the Sussexes have to do with any of this? None. But like school children, you bring them into the conversation. It's like your brains have not been developed enough in order to have conversations or to have comprehensive analysis, stick to a topic and develop it. It's as if there is no real topic or issue to really speak about unless you make a comparison with the Sussexes. And if that's the case, should that not tell you something? Should it not? It just, it was just so interesting to just kind of, because I stopped and I watched as my kettle was was heating the water and the water was heated and I heard the kettle and I just kind of just stood where I was and just continued to watch them. And I kept thinking, how old are all of you? Certainly older than I am, I guess. I'm not sure. Now, I do understand that age does not equal maturity. I understand that. Because trust me, I've met some 13-year-olds that were just brilliant. 10-year-olds. My nieces, and I speak to my nieces, they are just these brilliant girls. I'm so proud of them, by the way. So proud of them. Brilliant. And I've met some 50, 60, 40-year-olds that are just the most idiotically stupid people. That are so stuck in their ego, stuck in their inability to see the bigger picture and move on and move forward. They sat there and they continued to talk as usual. They brought up Prince Harry's interview with the Deal Book Summit in New York, New York Times. They made some jabs to the New York Times or about the New York Times. I don't think any of you should be comparing yourselves to the New York Times or anything the New York Times does. To start with, you should concentrate on the publications that you write for, and perhaps, do your own evaluation of where you stand. The questions that Harry was asked, I thought they were pretty good. He answered them directly. The things he couldn't speak much about, he didn't. What I find quite hypocritical is that when the people there are responding to Harry's comments about the media, and they act as if the things he is concerned about or that he spoke about did not exist, did not happen. Rebecca English, in her finest mode of, I'm gonna stop myself there. I'll just say this. She called herself a journalist, and then, she said, Harry would not want to speak to journalists like me. Well, my dear, when you say journalist, when you apply that title to your name, what does that mean to you? What does journalistic integrity mean to you? What does journalistic, truthful storytelling means to you? What does journalism, truth finding with evidence mean to you? Because it fascinates me within human behavior that every single commentary that you have made, Rebecca, journalist person, about the Princess of Wales has painted her perhaps on equal footing as a saint. And with the same brush, Meghan Markle is painted as the daughter of Satan himself. And this is week after week after week. Now, I take that, and now imagine the newspapers. Okay, so this over here is happening every week, every single week. There's stories. Meghan and Harry have not said a word about any of these people. Not a single word of any of these people. Keep that in mind, please. So week after week, no matter what they talk about, they could be talking about Assad government or regime in Syria falling. And somehow they'll find a way to bring Harry and Meghan into the conversation and paint them as the evilest of evil. Every week. And now add to that, okay? Now every day, they are online magazines, newspapers, and printed ones that have stories about Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. Stories that no one can truly verify because the information comes from anonymous sources. A good friend, a close neighbor, someone saw them, someone said, a courtier told us. Remember when she offended the Queen? No, I don't. How did she offend the Queen? What did she say? Oh, well, she made the Queen very angry. By what? Well, she curtsied. She offended our entire nation. By what? By the way, she curtsied. She is an American. There is generations of British people that don't know how to curtsy correctly, or frankly don't even know how to curtsy, period. So what is your offense again? I'm baffled here. The inability, it seems, for these people to actually think outside a grade 9 or 10 level capacity is astonishing to me. Astonishing. So let's go back. So we have them every week. They have their stories. They find a way to include Meghan and Harry, right? Never, ever positive. There's mockery, right? Richard, not Eden, the other one. He knows Princess Diana better than her son does. And perhaps he does. As we may remember, unfortunately, this young boy lost his mother in his early teens because newspapers, like the ones that you all work for, were paying an extravagant amount of money for pictures. So that Richard goes on to say that Princess Diana had a very good relationship with the media, with the press. She used them, they used her. And of course, if they printed something she didn't like, she sued them or she called them up and they would retract her. Oh, Harry knows nothing about his mother. That is glorious to say to a son, to a child that lost his mother. That's now an adult. That's glorious, Richard. They go on to mock the venture that Meghan launched. Meghan didn't launch anything. As far as I know, she has not launched anything. She did what some may call a capsule, right? A tester. They posted a thing on Instagram, a video. America Riviera Orchard. And that's it. That's all they did. Then a few months or so after, there was some jam that was made, handed out to a few people. Has she launched anything? No. She hasn't launched anything. Some may call she's doing a little bit of a capsule, a little bit of a tester, a little bit of market research. She hasn't launched anything. But you gleefully celebrate that she couldn't find, according to you, someone to be in charge of it, a CEO. But hey, she found one. Oh, the giddiness in the studio. It's herself. School children. Listen, I taught for 2 years. And I don't ever think my students were that. Oh, I don't want to offend you, so I'll just exercise some restraint here. You all act like school children, and that's an insult to school children. When is Britain going to grow up? Listen, I am not naive. I'm naive in some things. This certainly not. However, I learn something new every day, which I welcome. But I am fully aware that the issues that surround a lot of what we talk about, it has complexity to it, right? Sometimes one may see an issue and think, well, that's easily solvable. A goes to B, B goes to C. Because that's what we see. But many times there are layers underneath that we don't see that makes the issue complex. But I don't think there's any complexity in that if Meghan and Harry, not if, but Meghan and Harry have left the United Kingdom, not because they wanted to, but because they were forced to. And you may argue that all you want. You may rewrite your history, but the rest of us know what we read, know what we saw, and what we heard, and what we saw them experience. Because, again, it's interesting how you omit so much in order to continue to just present your narrative. Every single week is the same thing. Every single week. What the virginal Saint William and Saint Catherine and the spawns of the devil over there. Does it not get tiring to any of you? The stories are stale. It's like we already know what you're going to say. You're so predictable. Like a 5-year-old pulling tantrums. I really would like someone to answer that question for me. When will they grow up? Or are they those people that you meet them back again, you've left high school and you meet them back again, in your late 20s or 30s, and they haven't changed a bit? Now, sometimes that's a good thing. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes it's a good thing. The person had good values and the person was like, a great person, had a great personality. Yeah, what are they going to change to? Not having a great personality? But I would argue that if you live life, there's circumstances and things either you experience or you see or you read about, if you exist in this world, that as we become finer wines, changes us. Maybe just a little bit, or maybe a lot, depending on the impact it has. But I don't see any of you with your hypocrisy ever changing? I mean, Rebecca talked about the gentleness in which Prince William guided his wife. Oh, he just I mentioned this in my article. He just gently with a gentle he didn't even tap her really. He just gently signaled her, I'm here. I'm here. I'm right here next to you, Catherine. I'm right here, Catherine. Catherine, I'm right here for you. Rebecca, come on. Did you see the part where she shrugs him off, where she moves away from his hands, his touch, his whatever? Did you see the part where he pretends to go to touch her back but never touches it? Did you see the part where she is speaking to him? She even bends her head to meet his eyes and she's speaking to him and he doesn't look at her once until he feels like it, then he glances at her. Now, you can have all the body experts that you want to have and let them talk about how awful the Sussexes are. As a matter of fact, you made the comparison on on the show where you said, Kate and William would never want to be like Meghan and Harry, so vulgar. Their vulgarity of holding hands. They used to, they hold hands all the time and twist and finger each other, and finger each other. The stupidity, the childishness in the arguments, in the storytelling, in the rebuttals are so absolutely tiring, pathetic, and lazy. When will Britain grow up? So we have them with their thing. We have Richard Eden with this frozen picture. I can tell you that the Queen hated Meghan Markle. Oh, and here you see her eyes are looking towards the east of the south of the northeast corner. Therefore, oh, and Meghan was so rude. She was so rude to the staff, and the Queen had to say to her, Meghan, we do not speak to the staff like that. We do not at all. We speak to them with dignity, because they're people after all. You may consider them servants and animals and creatures, rodents perhaps, in America, but here, in the great United Kingdom of Northern... Don't you folks get tired? Don't you? I mean, good for you if you don't. I don't know what religion you may associate yourself with. Perhaps you don't associate yourself with any at all, which is quite okay. Trust me, I have my issues with religion too. Do you wonder about the afterlife? If you believe in any of that? Do you believe in karma? Do you believe that what we say and what we give out to the universe will come back to us tenfold? Perhaps you don't. And I think that is what allows people to navigate the world the way they do. I was listening to someone talk about YouTube and what you should do and what you shouldn't do because I'm still learning, right? And I'm always looking for ways to improve, to be better, um, to utilize this medium the best possible way I can. And one of the things that he said, you shouldn't care an F. Don't care an F. And I was like, what? Don't care an F. He goes, the day I stopped caring an F about people and what they thought, psh, everything skyrocketed for me. I was great. And perhaps that's the problem with the world today, is that no one cares an F. Perhaps that's the learning, that no one cares an F. So if no one cares an F, it allows us to say whatever we want to say about people, to degrade them, to lie about them, to create caricatures about them, to say things about them that are not truthful, because we don't care an F. So imagine for a minute, that's all you need, just a minute. You have them saying what they say. Every day, the general media ecosystem that exists in the United Kingdom, that is online, printed, social media. And let's be really minimalistic here. Let's say just one article is printed about Meghan Markle because she is abused the most. And ever so often, one of Prince Harry. And then, so we have that, right? And then we have a channel, a network, whatever, that's called Talk TV. It has several shows on. And almost, each and every one of the shows will have either a segment or a comment, negative of course, to make about Meghan Markle. And again, occasionally Prince Harry. And that's every day. Right? Every day. I'm not saying once a week. This is every single God blessed, given life day. Right? An entire network. How does one survive that? How does one survive that? And now you have then on another show on Sunday, they have their topics, and it always includes the Sussexes for some reason. Again, negative. So end to end, every single day, stories, news about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are the children of Satan. The most awful two people, well, Meghan is worse, ever walked this blessed land. So that now spreads internationally. International media, the ones that are also lazy to do any kind of work, will take whatever is being said by these so-called royal experts and publish them in their publications around the world. Entertainment shows will take them and just repeat. Royal expert so and so said that Meghan Markle, Prince Harry, royal expert said that the Princess of Wales, with the kindest voice, the nicest hands, the widest eyes, and the most splendid speech, has entered the room. How does one survive that? An immature bunch of people with intelligence and the capacity of an elementary or a high school person who function in the area of we are the popular kids because we have got pen and paper, and our poisonous pen will write stories about you that will turn everyone against you. When will they grow up? And the question now is not only for them, but it's for the people that believe them and purchase with their talking pound the lies that they write. You see, would this not be so easy? Let Prince Harry and Meghan Markle fail all by themselves. Why help them? Why tell people? Why give them free press? Yes, it's negative, but why? Why give them free press? Let them fail in Montecito. They're having money problems? Too bad. Let them fail. You should be talking about the ones that are here, the ones that are dedicated, the ones that are hardworking. Those are the ones you should be talking about. Now, William has become now this, the secret weapon. Every other month there's a secret weapon. Now William is a secret weapon. He's the first one to speak with Trump. The man who said he told Princess Diana to go get an HIV test before he. The man who said lewd things about his wife. And Prince William couldn't be happier and giddier and excited like a. Oh, yes. He gave him flattery. He's the good one. He's the good one. He's the good one. And all of you took the words of a convicted SA person, a convicted fraud, a criminal, a person who walked in, these are his words, into the Miss Teen USA changing room and would look and watch the girls change. Why? Because he owned the pageant, he said, and he can do that. And he could do other things too, and they would let him, he said. And we rejoice that he said to William, "He's the good one. He's the good one." When will you grow up? Do your country justice. Do your degree, as you say, journalist, journalism commentator, whatever, opinionator. Do your spirit some cleansing. When will you grow up? Because you see, your childish games are not childish. You make fun and mockery about Prince Harry possibly using what happened with Taylor Swift and her security when she was in the UK. Richard Eden gleefully jumped in. Well, she had an incident. Does Harry have an incident? Attending terrorists? I don't know. I'm still puzzled whether you folks are just absolutely stupid, that your stupidity is at a different level of stupid, or you're just willfully ignorant. Because if any of you would do just the minuscule of your job, and I mean, like for real, like to be honest, brokers, you would know that Prince Harry and Meghan and Prince Archie had the highest terrorist advice and warnings. Their danger was at times higher than that of the monarch. And that doesn't come from me. Those are facts. This is not invention. This is not creation. This is not me fantasizing. So I end it here. I said what I needed to say. When will you grow up?